Well, who'd have thunk it? A win for the Calgary Flames on the road in Washington, and a win in regulation when you and I are doing Afterburner, Ryan Pike. That's
It's a rarity.
again that people will be talking about the regulation or the loss at home for the Caps being the outlier. I think it's us not having to talk about a extra time loss or something like that. Flames win it by a score of 3-1. Yes, in Washington. And as you would imagine, on the other show earlier today, we were talking this Capitals team. You can't believe it. I mean, they just don't lose. They don't lose at home. They don't lose in regulation. They're unbelievable. This is don't say anything about the Flames. It's going to be a tough night for the Flames. We'll see how we can. Maybe it's PG-13 rating. I'm not sure. Maybe put your kids to bed before the third period starts. You may not want them to see the violence and the gory details. And the Caps lose. Last regulation loss, Jan 25. Last home regulation loss, they mentioned it 23rd of November against New Jersey. This was not on the bingo card, Ryan Pike.
This is in the game preview on the site. I noted the Flames had 14 goals scored in the month of February. The Capitals had 15 goals scored in their last two outings. And so a certain outcome was suggested by that.
Yeah.
And so in the first game, let's call a spade a spade. I don't think the Flames were especially enamored with their effort or their performance in general in their win ugly game against San Jose. They found a way to win, but I'm pretty sure that's a game you look at how they won and go, ooh, that's not going to be the recipe, boys. And so they looked a lot better. I think they looked more like the Flames that we've expected to see. They did a reasonably good job in the first period of generating offense, and then they just tried to bottle up a very good offensive team, and they only gave up one goal. It was on a power play, as the guy who does the thing from that place did the thing from the place on the power play. But other than that, the Flames got 3 goals past a pretty good goaltender at the other end, and you gotta. I think you look at the bulk of the game and you go, they deserve the outcome. I don't know if anyone would have anticipated that coming into this game, but it was a team that the Flames, I think, were trying not to overlook San Jose on Sunday night. I think they might have overlooked them a little bit, but you're not going into Washington, into that building against that team and go, oh boy, who I'm more worried about, that trip to Tampa. No, you're very dialed in on the task at hand, and with their backup goalie in net and the Flames playing with probably more focus than I've seen them play in about, they had 2 weeks off, so let's say a month.
Right.
I think they definitely deserve the outcome.
There you see it. Tom Gallitti beat New Jersey, but he's kind of in that northeast pocket of covering the NHL. Capitals 16-game home point streak ends with a 3-1 loss to the Flames. First reg loss at home since November 23rd to the Devils, 3-2. Also just their second regulation loss overall in the past 22 games since December 31st. They had been 14-2-6. Had been 5-0-3. So yeah, again, this is a lot of numbers. And if you're not seeing it on the screen, you're just hearing it. It's a lot. All of it really was going to point towards a Capitals win. They give up far less than the Flames do. They get far more than the Flames do. And I'm not sure what we saw tonight. Was this, maybe we kind of joked about it, did the Capitals have a case of the Flames on a Tuesday kind of thing? Were they thinking this was going to be maybe easier than it was? The first period shots were 14-5, but there's still 40 minutes left for them to wake up and come around. And certainly they did in the second period. Shots were 12-3 and the Flames were hanging on there for a little bit. Probably right near the top needs to be the Dan Vladar performance, as he is full marks on this one for sure. He makes 26 saves. Maybe wants that one back. Could have been a shutout effort. I don't know. I watched that. It's Ovechkin shooting and it's on the power play, but it's not your prototypical Ovi one-timer from that set. He just kind of gets it off quick. Either way, for Vladar, this guy had not had a lot to feel good about for a very long time. He had gone, whatever it was, winless in 6 straight, I think, but now has won back-to-back starts. So On a personal note, in the human side of it for Dan Vladar, you're happy for the guy. He spent a lot of time there feeling probably pretty shitty about himself.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who spent time around the team probably has a fun Dan Vladar story. Like, he's a very jovial guy, and both he and Dustin Wolf went into this season very much having a chance to become a National Hockey League starter. And for many reasons, the primary reason being the other guy was just better than him. Dustin Wolf has been a prodigiously good goaltender at every level he's played at, and he's been Dustin Wolf at the NHL level this season. And poor Dan Vladar, he's in the unenviable position of having to watch someone else get his dream job, and that can't be fun. But I think he's been a really good soldier for them. He's playing for a contract somewhere, maybe here, maybe somewhere else, but he's definitely motivated, and he looked really motivated and really dialed in this evening. And I think over at Sportsnet, Eric Francis did a interview with both I think it was Conroy, Wolf, a whole bunch of guys, and the thesis statement of it was, okay, they're going to ride Dustin Wolf from here on out, but they're going to need both guys, because there's no way you're going to play 25 games left after this evening. You're not going to play Dustin Wolf 25 times. Just the back-to-backs alone means that you're going to have to throw in Dan Vladar a handful of times. And you're going to need Dan Vladar to be good in the games he gets, not only for his playing future, but if the Flames want to be playing, past April 17th, that game in LA at the end of the season, if they want to be playing the following week, they're going to need everyone, regardless of if they have a contract for next year, pulling in the right direction. And, based on what we saw tonight, if this is an indication of the Dan Vladar we'll see maybe every 4 or 5 games, I think the Flames will be ecstatic to get that quality of goaltending.
No question about it. The trouble with Vladar, a lot of times that we've talked, I don't know how we've never really been able to kind of nail it down. You watch him play and it feels like he's playing very well. And then you look at the numbers and it's an 800 something save percentage and a 3 whatever goals against. Numbers that just aren't good enough to be a number one guy, let alone a backup in the league. And we wondered why he would have gotten this start. It's not a tight turn. It's not a back-to-back. You want to start the road trip. Almost felt like maybe one of those ones where we're going to take the loss in this game and save our, the better goaltender for a more beatable opponent. And if that was the case, then wink, wink, nudge, nudge, well done, coaching staff, because you get a rare win here. You kind of found one. It's like finding money in your ski jacket. Not bad. I don't know what the thought process was, if they thought that Vladar had been better against the Capitals, or what the process was to getting there. But I know I was surprised when we saw he was going to start.
Yeah, there's a handful of teams that I can recall, like, just seeing some really good Dan Vladar outings. There's been a couple in Detroit that always come to mind. He has a handful of teams that you always go, yeah, okay, you'll probably put Vladar in there. Edmonton's become one of them. But Washington, we've seen, last season, I believe the game in Washington was a Dustin Wolf start. The game in Calgary earlier this season was a Dustin Wolf start. Logan Thompson has always gotten the Calgary games because it seems that Spencer Carberry is a little bit of a sentimental guy and likes to give, Logan Thompson the start against his hometown team. But, the Flames seem to just be going, all right, Wolf has had a few, heading into the break. He's had some games that weren't bad, but just weren't Dustin Wolf level starts. He was pretty good against San Jose in the morning availability. Ryan Huska mentioned that this was one of the games that they had penciled in at the beginning of the season as a Dan Vladar start. I'll take his word for it, because I guess. And apparently they stuck with the plan. But, if you're looking at the rest of the trip, and we'll get into that later on, they have one back-to-back on this trip. So that you probably split up the Florida-Carolina games. But beyond that, like, if you were going to give him one, I guess this one makes as much sense as any. You probably have to give him either this game or the Tampa game to start him off and get him going, so you're not throwing him in cold against Carolina. Because, if you're cold against Carolina, you're gonna be colder by the end of that one. But
you kind of forgot off the start. Very rude. This show, Afterburner, it's a presentation of Bet365, the world's largest sports betting platform. Get that account open if you haven't already. Use the promo code NATION when you sign up. You're going to love it. Get the app on your phone. You're playing along. We're going to show you some odds for all of a sudden an interesting game that you may not have cared about tomorrow night on the 3-game sked, one of them. direct ties to the Flames. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And as always, we got the super chat. If you are in the YouTube chat and you throw some money down, we will show your comment. We will air your question and then take that money and send it on down the line to the youth centers of Calgary. So there you have that. What is a kicking motion? I guess would be my question. Because you're a rule book guy. You've been in the NHL rule book. That's page rule 22-3 point number 7. I thought a kicking motion is when you move your leg in a pendulum like fashion, thus striking the puck and then it going in. That motion contributes to the puck going down. Does it hit him first?
I think it hits the ankle first. So does that make it not a kick?
Before the kicking motion begins? But it looks funny to me.
See, I like the Western League's rule of just let it hit you wherever. If it's not in the crease and it hits you and it goes in, good on you. I mean, you can't throw the puck in the net. If I had infinite power, that'd be dangerous. But one of the first things I would do is just change the kicking motion, the thing to just, you know what, just like
I would just I don't know that we're in danger of guys doing spinning wheel kicks like soccer style. It's very dangerous. Okay, yeah. How about we change it, and then if we do see a lot of people really just recklessly flailing around with their feet, we'll make some changes there. And I don't know, it goes off of his foot. Does that have to be? It's off of his shin. So is that different?
What a weird goal too.
Yeah, and he needed it. That's I think that's his 4th of the season. It's been kind of a weird year for him. Last year was electric when he came in. He's hitting guys and scoring goals, and was a big part of why the team, bringing that team to life after a kind of a sluggish start. He's been moved around. He's been a center. He's been a wing. He's 4th line. He's bouncing around. I get that that's probably hard for a young guy, but there's been, for me, too many nights where you just don't see him. And I get that he's probably feeling like he's got to be very careful with getting tossed out of hockey games and suspensions and stuff like that. But to me, it's almost careful what you wish for, because if you have him not playing on the edge, then you don't have him at his best.
Yeah, I'll say this. The last few games, like the Flames' 4th line has been kind of a mess for much of the season. The best we saw it was with Justin Kirkland up the middle during Kevin Rooney's brief absence at the beginning of the season, and then since Kirkland got knocked out for the season, the 4th line has basically been sort of a churn, a line that outside of Ryan Lomberg has no identity. And I'll say this: if you throw Lomberg and Pospisil on the same line, you kind of know what they're all about. You might not get a lot of offense, but you need to get energy out of them. And for the last couple, we saw them put together in the Seattle game before the break. The last 2 games, I think they've been, very much noticeable for the right reasons. The reasons you would like to have a line be noticeable, not the old, ooh, what the hell are they doing there? Kind of noticeable that they were before these guys were put together. And, Pospisil, he's a guy who's on, he got that multi-year extension last year. He's on a deal for this year and next year for $1 million. He's a guy that has the ability to play up. And I think he needs to keep bringing what he's bringing, because, when he plays a very simple north-south game, like he has been the last couple of games, he's noticeable. He goes to the front of the net and scores a soccer goal, because he's in the right position and he plays that way. And I'll also give a stick tap to playing in his 3rd game of the year, Ilya Solovyov, because he made the heads up play to sort of pinch down and throw the puck on net, leading to a series of weird bounces that end up with a puck in the net. Solovyov playing in place of Jake Bean, who was noticeable for reasons you don't want to be noticeable as a defenseman last game.
Yeah.
I think, if you're the Flames, you're hoping to get some internal competition. If you're Pospisil on the 4th line, all of a sudden, maybe you're hearing Adam Klapka's footsteps. So I think for Pospisil's sake, he needs more games like this one. Where
I was going to say, it's where I feel he's probably best suited. If he's going to be able to give you the kind of offense that you said, then he can be a top 9 guy. He just doesn't. I don't think his best attributes are conducive to a top 9 player. I think that being on that 4th line is probably where he needs to be. But I still think, and we're hypocritical with it because we go out there, crash and bang. And then who was it? Taylor Hall in that Chicago game where he really well, you can't make that hit. That's in the numbers right into the top of the dasher board. Like you can't do that. So I get it's probably very hard for him to turn that switch on and off,
and
on a shift by shift basis.
He's such a big dude. I mean, I'm not a big dude. I'm lanky, so I've never had to be worried about physicality because of how damn lanky I am. But with Pospisil, like we had this sort of opposite situation with Johnny Gaudreau, where every time someone made contact with Johnny Gaudreau, because of his size relative to the rest of the league, he looked like he was being absolutely clobbered on relatively routine hits because of the size disparity. And I think we see the opposite with guys like Bahl and especially Pospisil, where Pospisil, we've seen him this year throw clean hits that made it look like he was getting away with a crime because of the size disparity. And so I think, unfortunately, there is probably a different standard for him because of who he is and his size. And so I think the big challenge for him, like you alluded to, I don't think he can play tentative. I think he sort of needs to figure out where that line is. But if he's just sort of if he just turns into Mark Jankowski, I don't know if he's nearly as effective. He needs to be a big dude who's not afraid to use his bigness to benefit the hockey club. And, when he can use those attributes well, he's a really effective hockey player for them.
Use your bigness. That's what I always say. Use your bigness. If you got your bigness, if you're not using it, what are you doing? You're just wasting your bigness. That's what you'd be doing. There it is right there, friends. You can see it in the top corner. You can see it right there. It's the Origin Brewing Afterburner Pale Ale. I wish the lights, it just doesn't do the justice to how great, because there's like a, whatever you call it, it's like a reflective type of a deal. This is all I call it. And then what's inside it? You wouldn't even believe how good it is. Origin Malting and Brewing Company. They came through with the Barn Burner Blonde. Now they've got, and this, I say now, it's been out for a while now. Go to your liquor store and ask, where's the Afterburner, the Origin Afterburner Pale Ale? I love pale ales. I'd like to get my hands on some. Go into your bar on tap. You got any Origin of the Pale Ale, the Afterburner Pale Ale? They can do that for you. Let's go. It's Origin Brewing. They've been a great partner of ours. They continue to be a great partner. They are in Strathmore. They're also in Calgary. You want to go? Maybe. Where do we get it? You're going to find it in a lot of the liquor stores, and if you can't, then you got the whole schmear, the whole line at the OC Calgary, 943 28th Street Northeast. Still going strong at 60 Spruce Park Drive in Strathmore. They got the kitchen going out in Strathmore. Great beers, the Mexican lager, the homegrown lager, the prickly pear guava gosa. It's good stuff. I don't know how we got in cahoots with guys that are this good at what they do.
And this is obviously the Barn Burner Blonde is the original and a heck of a beer. But, the Afterburner is a beer that is a sequel that lives up to the original. So
some say superior. And it's all on and I'm here for the discussion. I'm here for the debate. It all depends on your tastes. Maybe if you prefer the ale to the blonde, it's whatever. I just think they're easy drinking. I'm not a big hoppy beer guy. It's when you got to chew on it, it's a little that's leaving the beer territory for me when it gets so heavy. Not too heavy. These beers not too heavy at all. Get some with you. Get some in you with Origin Malting and Brewing. You mentioned Bahl back 23 minutes. He's just kind of sneaky, quietly performs well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean he's one of those guys that you look at the stat line, and you go, how does he have so many points? He doesn't really seem like a guy, like he's very good in his own end, but like look at the second goal the Flames scored, the eventual game winner, a smart defensive play to clear the zone, and good things happen because he cleared the zone in an effective, non-chaotic way. The Flames, in Kevin Bahl's absence, I don't think it's rude to say their defense was a work in progress, and at times their ability to clear the zone was, let's say, variable. Sometimes it just didn't work out. Bahl, I think, because of his size and because of just how well he uses his stick, he's real good at just getting pucks out, and it leads to good things, right?
And an assist, I guess, on what ends up being the game winner, right? Because he is in the right place at the right time, pushes the puck ahead to Coronato, who scores, and integral. The big story, one of the big stories of this game as well, is the blocks. He had 3 of them. Or do we want to show we may as well show the goal? Why wouldn't we? Matt Coronato, who earlier had a 2-on-1 and really just kind of pissed it away. Nothing came of, not a shot on goal, nothing. And if anything, it presented a scoring chance for the Capitals coming back the other way. But it's a save by Vladar, and then Bahl makes the nice play on it. So here it's late stages of the first, as you can. It beats him high glove. It's a hell of a goal, and a big one there for the Flames as it made it 2-0. The Cap on a tremendous first period, one of the best road periods that we've seen from the Flames all season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Coronato, the funny thing is, I looked at the game log. The other 2 guys in Coronato's line were on the bench when this went in. They went on that rush. They went off for the change. Coronato went back to back check and didn't even make it all the way back to his blue line before the puck got turned back over and he was off to the races. But end of his shift, he's obviously huffing and puffing a little. The tank is on E, and he just goes to his skill set, which is he's got that great shot. He knows where to put it. He knows how to release it in a way that really makes it tough for a goaltender to get a read on it. And he's, for a guy that started the season, he was up on the roster because guys were hurt. He got sent down for a weekend to the Wranglers. I don't think he's going back, folks. I think he's around for the foreseeable future. That's his 15th of the year. And I think if you look back at a lot of his goals, he doesn't score a lot of ugly goals. He finds ways to score goals that make you go, ooh.
He's one of the few guys, right? And you even go back, I mean, Gaudreau had a lot of goals, but he is a shooter, and the Flames for so long have not had a one-shot, put it on my tape, and I may just beat the goalie with velocity and my ability to shoot it. And I think somebody in the comments had it, and it's on his. He's a right shot. He's going back across. It somehow gets it across the goal. It still finds a way. And you talk about Coronato. I just went back and looked through his game log. Now I might be wrong on this, but you talk about steady and consistent. He has not gone more than 6 games without getting a goal, as he's now up to 15 and 52 games. So for a guy who's still very young and early in his career, second-year player, to be able to contribute, that's fairly consistent to me for a young guy on a team that desperately needs goal scoring. He's one of the best stories of the season.
Yeah, and he's one of those we've talked. I think obviously the big story of this year is Dustin Wolf, but I think the other big story of the year is, we've seen Connor Zary in his second year with the Flames really become a really dynamic player with the puck, and we've seen Matt Coronato become one of those big time big game players where how many times in key moments have we seen when he was on the other line, Backlund or Coleman try to find him on the ice because he had the ability to find quiet spots on the ice and get that shot off in a hurry, where it's not quite Ovechkin level. Let's be blunt. No one in the NHL is Ovechkin level at getting a shot off where you know where it's coming from and you know who's shooting it and you still can't do a damn thing about it. But in terms of the Flames right now, or even the Flames in the last 10 years or so, you kind of know that, Coronato is going to be shooting probably from the top of the circles or the high slot with that heck of a shot, and where he's going with it. But a lot of goaltenders in the NHL this year have been able to sort of see it coming and not do much with it. So, for a guy who, as you mentioned, first full NHL year, second year pro, he was in school 2 years ago at Harvard, and I think he's one of the guys that probably because of the Wolf at all, we don't talk enough about how good Coronato has been, because he's been excellent.
And there too, much like we were talking with Pospisil, he's played with a lot of different line mates, has been put in different spots, but he's like Zary has worked himself into a spot. He's going nowhere. He's a part of this team, and it's going to go from nice story to we're now counting on you, because it's now a worst case 15 goal season for this guy, and there's a lot of runway left. A good night for the defense in terms, and I know that they talked about it on the broadcast, a career high for blocks for Rasmus Andersson, 8 blocks, 23.5 minutes. And to me, that was part of, I guess, in the first period, but certainly in the second, it just seemed like the Flames were either good sticks to take away passes. It's not that the Caps weren't generating, but whenever they got close to getting the shot away, it had either gone off a leg just before the last pass before a shot, or as soon as they got ready to try and attempt an opportunity, it's either a good bounce, a good stick, or a shot block that saved them. It's kind of what you need if you're going to be the Flames. You got to get some good, timely goaltending and try and not give up much. And it's about laying your body on the line. 5 blocks for Weegar, 8 for Anderson, 3 for Bahl. Pretty decent night for those guys back there getting in the way.
Yeah, it's just one of those nights where, we've heard plenty of times this year. It's usually either Blake Coleman or Mackenzie Weegar talking to us about the team's identity, and the team's identity is basically this game where they have a couple guys that can get some big goals for them, a couple guys that can make some big saves for them, and then it's the other 18 guys on the ice going, okay, we've got to lead. These guys have made some big saves for us. We got to make life easier on them. And so, we've seen them box out really nicely, but also, I mean, I looked at the game log. I think like half of Anderson's blocks, like he had 4 or 5 blocks just on Ovechkin. And you've got to have something wrong with you to just be like, see what he can do with the puck and go, I'm going to stand in the way of that. Because the guys who get paid to do it tend to have a lot more padding than what Rasmus Anderson had on, but he did it anyway. So, it's one of those games I think where we talk about. I mean, I know it's a cliche. You got to set the tone for the road trip, Dean, but you got to set the tone for the road trip. And going out with a game like this against a team like that, I think basically sets the standard and, allows the Flames to sort of probably feel good about themselves heading into what they got. 5 games left in this trip, and probably you'd call 4 of them tough nights at the office at the best of times. You'd rather you getting points now and then chasing it later, right?
Yeah, you could look at, you got already 2 points that maybe some people thought you weren't going to get at all. So it's a heck of a start. And the way that they went about it and the way that they were able to accomplish it doesn't feel like it's something that you're not going to be able to replicate. You didn't score 7 goals. There was not some weird outlier. As good as Dan Vladar was, and he was in this game, it's not like you can't envision him playing that well again. We shall see. It's Tampa, it's Florida, it's Carolina, Dallas to wrap it up. I don't know how much they're going to have left in the tank by the time that comes up. We may as well take a look at the road ahead. It's a presentation of Platinum Mitsubishi. Family owned and operated by lifelong Calgarians. That's pretty rare, Pike. Pretty rare. Where you just kind of stick with it and you forge ahead as good family. Mitsubishis have the best warranty in the business with a 10-year warranty. They've got lease and finance rates starting at 0.99%. Check out the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. I said to the FEV, he's like, yeah, you can go with FEV. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be, but it's Canada's best-selling plug-in hybrid SUV. Find that and more. Open your eyes to Platinum Mitsubishi, 2720 Barlow Trail in the Northeast. Yes, the road ahead. 1 down, 5 to go. It'll continue on Thursday, a 5 o'clock start in Tampa Bay against the Lightning, who find themselves in the playoff mix, but they're not at the top. I still feel like they're probably a team that doesn't worry too much about what the regular season is. Let's just get in and be right when the time comes. So they will not be an easy touch. Then you go to Florida on Saturday for a 1 p.m. game. Don't love that. Sunday against Carolina, that's a 3 p.m. start. Tuesday in Philadelphia, and then Thursday, right before the trade deadline, they've got Dallas to wrap up the road trip, which again, a lot of these teams, so now from Washington, you go down to Florida. Okay, you're there, but then back to Carolina, Philadelphia. Dallas is nowhere near Philadelphia. I don't know if you're how good geography. I've not been to Dallas. I've wanted to go many times. I've been to Philly a few times, but I didn't hear people talking about making a quick road trip to Dallas anytime I was in Philly.
I've been to Dallas a few times. Bless the folks in Texas. It's not really close to much of anything. It's a couple hours flight to basically everywhere except, I mean, maybe you're like an hour and a half from Vegas.
Yeah,
it's close to Phoenix, kind of like there's a not insubstantial amount of travel, and when you look at the Philadelphia Flyers, where correct me if I'm wrong, it's the first game for everyone involved in that big trade. And correct me if I'm wrong, the first game back in sort of Johnny Gaudreau's old stomping grounds since the passing of the Gaudreau brothers, that's not going to be, it's not exactly a game that is an afterthought. So every one of these games has standing as importance and something about them that is, emotionally unique, to say the least.
It might be a great thing for the Flames because you're right. Because of the Farabee Frost and the trade, it might be one that you'd not look past, but just it'd be harder to get up for after you've been playing all of these tough opponents and you've got one more and the trade deadline is whatever it is at that point, 48, 60, whatever many hours away. It might just be enough to kind of bring your headspace back to where it needs to be, which is winning an important game. Because it should be the softest touch on the road trip and probably not close.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like it's one of those games where if of all the teams, how many times have we seen road trips where the Flames are a lot of teams run the table of the tough teams, and then you're like, oh, then they lay an egg in Chicago, or they can't hold a lead against Seattle, or San Jose surprises them, or Anaheim whoops them. Like there's plenty of, there's no easy outs in the NHL if you're not mentally tied into the game. And so, I think this is the kind of road trip that they need to find their focus. I mean, this was, I was joking with Pinder via text a couple days ago. Like, this is the get busy living or get busy done road trip. You're either going to make everyone go, damn, turns out they're as bad as we thought they were in September. Ho hum, they're not making it. Or, oh, this is a group that actually is as good as they think they can be. So, it's not a bad start, I guess.
That's the road ahead for Platinum Mitsubishi. Again, best warranty in the business, 10-year warranty, light lease and finance rates starting at 0.99%. Platinum Mitsubishi, 2720 Barlow Trail, Northeast. Because, you've got bronze, and it could be bronze Mitsubishi. Better than that. Silver, gold, pretty good. Platinum. That's what we're dealing with. It's pretty good.
This is true. This is true. They're good folks over there.
Platinum Mitsubishi. Jonathan Huberdeau now has a 6-game point streak, 7 points in those 6 games. Kadri now up to a 7-game streak. He's got, I think it's 9 points in there. But for Huberdeau, we're seeing him in key moments in hockey games. I don't know where Flames fans are at with him now. It was such a disappointment that first year, and it was just such an awful year for him. But for a guy that felt like weeks without being noticed, you're seeing him all the time, and it's not for the mistakes he's been making or for bad passes or missed coverage. He's having a positive impact for the Flames in hockey games. And here again, it's not the game winner, but with 4:28 to go, that's a massive goal for the Flames.
Oh, 100%. And we saw him make a very nice play on the game winner against San Jose, collecting a rebound and just shuffling it over to Joel Hanley for that one. Jonathan Huberdeau, power forward, is making his living around the net this year. And, he's capable of doing really fancy, finessey things with the puck, but he's sort of adopted a blue collar attitude this year where, he's making a lot of those smart little plays right around the blue paint. And as a result, I mean, this is the type of goal that unless you're not willing to go to the front of the net and eat a few shots, you probably don't score these goals very often. But he's right there in the right spot. We spent a long time in years past bemoaning the lack of chemistry between the Flames' 2 highest paid offensive players, and then this year they put them back together and it works. Voila! It was just, I guess, I don't know if it was a matter of time or what, but Kadri and Huberdeau have worked really, really well together this year. They've put any number of different gentlemen on their wing this year, and it's worked. They've meshed really well with the aforementioned Coronato, but I think Huberdeau, I got to give him a lot of credit because we've seen plenty of veteran players go places, get big contracts. It doesn't work. And you can just sort of see them mentally pack it in and go, oh, well, money's still coming. Guaranteed, bonus heavy contract. Can't buy me out. Screw it. I'm going to go golfing. Who cares? But Huberdeau, his give a what meter has always been very high. When things weren't going well for them, you could sort of see him wearing it in terms of just his body language, his demeanor. He was really wanted to do well here. And I don't think there's anyone, that deserves more credit for how they've turned themselves around than Huberdeau, because, he's killing penalties now. He's on both sides of special teams. When there's a really important moment in a game, you put Jonathan Huberdeau on the ice. And would we have said that a year ago? Probably not. Maybe, I think it's a really nice thing to see, because just for the money, you want him to be able to contribute. But for the human being, like, if you're getting paid that kind of money and you've had the kind of success that he's had in his career, and then all of a sudden it ain't working, I can't imagine what that must be like to just not have it. So thankfully for his sake and the Flames' sake, he's found it again.
I mean, make no mistake, and people are in the chat, he's on pace for 50, 60 points. He's not a $10 million guy. He is still horribly overpaid.
If somebody loves you and is willing to sign you to that contract.
No, I say it all the time. He didn't come in there with a ski mask and handguns. Somebody slid a paper with his name on it and that number across the table, handed him a pen. That's not Jonathan Huberdeau's fault for signing it. Then you can question, well, what happened? Why was it such a difficult thing? But so it is tempered. Trust me, we understand. This is not a guy who's leading the league in scoring. He's barely leading his team in scoring. He's tied with Nazem Kadri. But for what it is, you're just happy to see that there's some production coming, and it's more than we've seen. And he's got 22 goals. If we'd have said at the start of the year you get 25 out of Huberdeau, you'd have been wondering how many years. Is that over 3 years? How long is that going to take? So it's a decent story
for folks who are lucky enough, like I am, to watch a lot of Flames games live. When number 10's not putting up points, he's still doing useful, positive things. And there's some games where guys who are fighting it are invisible. Huberdeau is finding ways to be a useful hockey player even when he's not getting on the stat line. And again, that's not something I think we would have been saying a year or two ago.
Yeah. Are you going to be part of the trade deadline day coverage for Daily Faceoff?
I'm on call. I don't know if I'm scheduled, but I'm on. I was told to be around.
If Conroy decides to get off of his hands and do something, they'll put Ryan Pike to work. It's the DFO trade deadline special. Mark your calendars. Coming up next week, March 7th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Daily Faceoff trade deadline show. I guess it's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. So, it'd be 1 o'clock here. I should probably just change that in my script. Instant reaction. Expert analysis, all the behind-the-scenes drama, the biggest trades in the news around the league, plus special guests lined up throughout the show. Maybe Ryan Pike to give you exclusive insights from some of the biggest names in the game. Blockbuster deals, we got them. Be covering it all. What are you waiting for? Well, probably trade deadline day. Tune in to Daily Faceoff's YouTube channel and follow Daily Faceoff on socials March 7th. You don't want to miss it.
So that's not this coming Friday. It's the Friday after that.
March 7th.
Yeah.
March 7th. I guess when I say next Friday, not this Friday, meaning this coming next Friday.
The first Friday in March. You'll know because people will be running up to you going, "Did you see what the Flames did?" Or maybe they won't. I don't know.
Is that what they'll be doing? It'll be how did Vegas get Mikko Rantanen?
How did Vegas get everybody?
That's what people will be saying. How the hell did that happen? Bet365, we talked about it off the start. They are the presenting sponsor of this program, as well as Barn Burner, largest sports betting platform in the world. I said world's right. The world's largest in the world. Just make sure you know. Just make sure that's clear. Download the app. Use the pro code Nation when you sign up if you haven't already. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 3 games tomorrow. Flames again are off until Thursday when they play against the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think it is. But tomorrow, the Vancouver Canucks, with their starting goaltender on IR, with one of their best players playing for the New York Rangers. One of their other best players is not sure if he's pouty pants, not playing well. Elias Pettersson. They are taking on the LA Kings, the Kings who beat the Vegas Golden Knights yesterday. Heavy favorites are the LA Kings, and rightfully so, because the Flames tonight with this victory, there's a bit of this going on, right, Pike? There's a bit of this. I'm using my fingers to show like a shot. Yeah, some of right. Yeah, we know what that is
Exactly.
So the Vancouver Canucks, they got to be feeling like they want to win here, having watched the Flames win tonight and leapfrog them into the second and final wild card.
Yeah, and now these two teams are even in games played with 20 or 57 apiece.
Mm-hmm.
The Calgary Flames have one more point than the Vancouver Canucks,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is what we would call this is a game in hand for the Flames. The Canucks will play this game; they'll get into 58, and we'll see what happens. The Canucks have the opportunity to leapfrog the Flames with a favorable outcome, or they have the chance to give the Flames
that's right,
another opportunity to gain some ground. So it's and I mean, LA Kings currently in a playoff spot, currently on a bit of a hot streak, trying to move up the standings and catch the Edmontons and Vegases of the world. So this is a game where a home team with some motivation and a road team that is suddenly below the line they want to be above. So
Flames have won 2 straight. Canucks, they've lost 2 straight. Are those going to continue? I guess,
my feeling is these teams are going to keep flip-flopping all the damn season until April 17th. So at the very least, we're going to be talking about interesting hockey for potentially 82 games, potentially longer, Dean, but at least 82 games.
Well, I will say this: if they get in, I think we're all fairly certain what this team was going to be at the outset. And now, are they a lot different than what we thought they were going to be? Maybe not. Maybe the goaltending's been better, but they have had a hard time. Well, I don't know. I think we thought that the scoring was going to be okay, but what about the blue line? And what about the goaltending? Where in essence, I guess it's been the blue line's been okay. They have come together as a group and been decent enough. And the goaltending's probably, from Wolf anyway, has been better than what we thought. But they can't score to save their lives. Even tonight in a game where they come away with a big win, they get their third goal with less than 5 left. It does not give you much room for error in these. You get 2 or 3 a night. You just wish they could find a way to do themselves a favor. And even in this game, so many scoring chances. There was that Coleman is in alone in front and he can't score. And Anderson picks off that puck and goes back but can't get a shot off. And Farabee's whiffing on pucks. Do yourself end of the second period. It's 2-0. You get a power play and get no shots. Instead of making it 3-0 going into the intermission, no, it's still 2-0.
Not a great power play today.
They really struggle to do themselves favors.
Yeah, I mean, in the season preview, I went out of my way not to make bold predictions because my thesis statement was, I don't know, like to a man, you could look at the forward group and go, yeah, I kind of know what they are. I mean, I think Huberdeau has been better than we thought he'd be. A couple like Sharangovich is a little bit colder offensively than we thought he'd be, but it all comes out in the wash. I think the forward group is roughly what we thought they'd be. Coronato's a bit better than we thought, but then you don't have Mantha for the whole season pretty much. So it's about the same. Yeah. On the blue line, you're like, all right, I think I know what Anderson is. I think I know what Weegar is. But then there's like another 6 guys that I don't know what they are. Like,
and there was even that one shift in the first period where it was Sharangovich, Frost, and Farabee. Each one of them had great chances. Same shift. Oh, great A scoring. No. Don't know what it's going to take. But you know what? They found a way.
Yeah, then found a way. They're I'll say this. I mean, I vividly recall Flames teams the past that had to play a team game because they didn't have anyone who could just steal games for them. And then, you found some, the Flames of 13-14 were a grinded out group. And then then a Johnny Gaudreau came in and, he turned out he was Johnny Gaudreau. So I'm not saying that the Zane Parekh will be that guy because I don't know. He's played 0 minutes of pro hockey. I've played as much pro hockey as he has. I'm sure he's going to be much better at that than I would be. But you don't, some things just translate and some things don't. We don't know until we see them. But, if you're thinking, okay, this type of system, this type of work ethic, this type of cohesiveness as a group, and then maybe you find some higher end talent to sort of, splice into the group. You don't have to squint too hard to sort of see what their concept is, but it's just a question of, can they find the guys that'll fit with what they're doing and have it work out the way they want it to?
Now, in fairness, I tend to agree. I think that Perrick probably will be a better pro than you. However, though, different era when you would have been a pro.
Oh, goodness.
You had to fight through clutching and grabbing and, like you say, you're lanky. And
when I was on the ice, it became the dead puck era. Every time I went over the boards, everyone's like, all right, offense is done here. Dead puck era has begun.
Yeah. So I'm conflicted now as we kind of bring this thing home. We do the super chat at the end of the show, as we play the horn, and then we do the super chat. If you've put down some money for the good folks at the Youth Centers of Calgary, then we will go and take your comment and show it on the show. But we've had no one donate any money, so we have some questions, we have some thoughts, the comments, and that. But I don't know how this works now. All it would take was just a little bit. I almost feel like
every little bit helps.
I almost feel like saying, sorry, guys, no freebies. Are we doing freebies?
No.
I'm going to say that we've already talked about. That doesn't really make sense. Here's a freebie. Brady wants to know, is Ryan Pike the superior Ryan at Flames Nation? Your thoughts?
I definitely have Ryan's seniority.
Yep.
I have a better email address than the other Ryan does.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what he said. Again, why would I have to email him? Can we lock up Baller now? Are you looking at? Are you in the group that wants to get Baller signed to a long-term deal?
I think you gotta talk to him. I'd say you traded for him, hoping that he'd look good, and he's looked good, and you're for what you need guys to do. I think he does a good job at it. I mean, he's not running your power play, nor would you want him to, but for tough minutes 5-on-5 and the PK, I think he fits in really nicely. So I think my thought process is that's definitely something they're going to be strongly exploring in the near future.
Baller is an RFA with arbitration rights. He's making just over $1 million. I'd have depending on what it is, right? I'd be fine giving Baller some dough. I think you need those guys who are just keep it simple, stupid. Just we're going to be not a lot of offense in my game. Never has been. Don't expect it. Don't be sitting there if I get 3 points this year and be griping because I'm not putting because I think, as you had kind of said, there's a good chance you're going to have some defensemen on this team moving forward that just may not be as sound defensively. This is a guy that you could probably feel pretty good having on the ice in a lot of situations. So.
They got a lot of offensive-minded right shot gentlemen in the system, and if you're looking for a left shot guy that can just play a simple game, you can sort of see some stylistic mesh that would work pretty nicely together.
Yeah. Look at this. You complain and you get it. That's how it goes. Money's starting to come in for the Youth Centers of Calgary. Appreciate you. I knew you guys could come through. I knew you'd be there for us in the end. Look at Jeremy. $2. Hi, Dean. How's she going?
Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy. Yeah, Pike's here too.
Thanks for your contribution to Youth Centers of Calgary. They really appreciate it. But
he did have the all caps there. Dean, it's a thing. It's a callback to the other show. Spinders. Jerk. This one coming in. $2.79. Sign or trade Rasmus Sanderson has a year left. I'm falling more and more into the trade category. I get you want to have solid defenseman, and he's everything you want in a guy. You saw it tonight. 8 shot blocks In a game against one of the top teams in the league, he laid his body on the line. He did what you want guys to do. And you feel like if they were ever in a spot to get into the playoffs, what a warrior he would be for you in those playoffs. I just fear by the time you get to the point where you're a realistic shot at maybe winning a round, what's going to be left? How much tread's going to be left on that tire? The whole thing, and it's a tough way to answer it. The whole thing comes down to what's the offer? If it's a shit offer, I'm more inclined to sign him. And then maybe I can trade him within the course of that deal. And if it's a great offer, even if I was thinking of, I would like to sign him, but we can't say no to this, then you trade him. So, I mean, that kind of pretty straightforward, I think.
If we're making predictions, I think we're gonna hear an announcement of a signing sometime in the summer.
Come on, really?
Yeah, that's my gut. With absolutely no inside information, my gut says we get an announcement sometime during the summer.
Is your gut good? You got good gut for these things, or how is it kind of in? Did you have Elias Lindholm signing? Did you have Hannafin signing? Or your gut, I guess. Did your gut have them signing?
I think when we got out of September, October, and we hadn't heard much, that suggested the enthusiasm on one or both sides was waning. So,
yeah, you need, as they say, two to tango.
Let's just say probably the most enthusiastic guy of the illustrious the 7 pending UFAs about being a Flame long term was the guy they signed to make captain. He was probably the one on paper that you went, that's probably the first thing that they do, right? That would make sense. And
yeah. Probably could have traded him. Look at this, $10, Greg. Attaboy. If the Flames beat the best team in the league, does that make the Flames the best team in the league? Probably not, but love their work ethic. No, I think that's how it is. So congrats to the Flames. Well done. Best team in the league.
I got nothing to add to that. If that's how we define it, that's how we define it.
You went on the road and you played a bit of a, it wasn't, I was going to call it a stinker. It wasn't. You were very good in the first period. You were tremendous. It was a great first period. I think that the Caps were ready to just kind of, what would you call it?
Lollygaggers.
They were going to be a bunch of lollygaggers and just lollygag their way through that hockey game. But the Flames weren't going to allow it. They weren't going to do it. Sheldon, $2. I think Sheldon put the dough through and then clicked the thing before he put his...
Sheldon was so excited to make a contribution that he forgot to put anything in.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe it pops up. Socius, early still, but where are you guys with extending Frost? Dollars and term. Frost. 25. He's a center. Final year of his contract, paying him $2.1 million. He's an RFA with ARB rights. I like him. I like the player. I'm not over the moon. I think he's a good NHL player. He's a centerman. They need centers. It's all good. And I do think you try and sign him, obviously, but to what end? And I know that's the question. I honestly don't know. I don't even know yet. He's got 3 points in 6 games, 2 of them goals as a Flame. He's to me, he's 25, so that would mean that he's got two seasons you can sign him for, and then he becomes a UFA. So that means you either do 1 or you do 3 or more. I'd be leading 1. I think you give him a bit of a raise, somewhere like 3 something, 3 and change, somewhere between 3 and 4, and be like, okay, let's see what you are here, and then go from there. Because I mean, I don't think he's a guy who's really blown the doors off, but he's played less than 10 games. So I think you're not really sure what he's going to be. And even if he plays every game between now and the end of the season, you're still looking at 40 games, less than 40 games with this group. So, it's hard to, we've heard criticisms from people on the other show about players getting long-term commitments who have not played, if at all, for the Flames, very little with the Flames before they got a big time long-term deal. And so you have the ability, with him being someone who's not 27 yet, that you can be a little bit cautious. And I don't think it's disrespectful to either the player or the team to be like,
Want to do 1 year and see where we are, see where how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So
Are you calling out Warner? Is that what you're doing? Guy in the other show?
I think he has very well articulated points. I mean,
Right.
I know I've an inkling as to why you would want to sign guys long term to avoid distractions, but also as I'm very amenable to his. Ooh, maybe you could have waited a little bit, huh?
Yeah. That's the thing. We all kind of want to. If the deal gets done and it's too much money, well, that was stupid. And then if you don't sign him, but it's a short term, well, it's just what happens now if he explodes, and now it's gonna. We're all very good at picking the sides. $10 for Pike. That's from Jeremy, just for you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah. Guess he felt bad. I mean, I wouldn't. Budget to $5. When will Cammy and Mike do Afterburner again? Because I will donate the 50 for Cammy to Ragdoll Mike. If it were a Cammy v Mike, are we doing this? What's the environment? Are we doing this in the street, like an alley fight? Is it MMA
in the studio? And she's gonna like just judo toss him onto the ground.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's doing it more than once.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure what the environment or what the setting would be where I would take Gould over Cammy. I don't know where that would fall.
I think even if we gave Mike a weapon, like if he said, "Okay, you get to carry like a pipe or a baseball bat," I'd still take Cammy.
Yeah, I think she's definitely got more of a edge to her. She's willing to go to places that Mike won't. And I also think should things go poorly, she's got far more ability to withstand some abuse than Mike. I just feel like Mike is going 1, 2, 3 shots in any way, shape, or form, and he's just going to be done. So yeah, it's curious though. In what arena would you take Gould over Cammy Koepke in a battle?
That has the potential to be a one-sided ass kicking, not unlike Sheamus and Daniel Bryan at that one WrestleMania, where it's ugly and it's over quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, look at this one here. Poor Todd Pook. Old Todd Pook came through with a $13.99, didn't put a thing in. Oh, Todd. I feel bad for Todd. But then he did kind of come through with another message. So we'll just assume that this was Todd Pook with the dough. Happy Tuesday. What does Pike want the Flames to do at the deadline? Is acquiring Rantanen realistic?
I don't think we're going to see anything big. I think the things that Craig is in the mindset for be, maybe you look at something along the Frost Farabee move where if you have age group appropriate assets that maybe you want to fill some holes, but I barring a great center becoming available without you really needing to take too much out of your prospect pool, your roster. If someone says, here's a top line center for free, of course he'll say yes. My guess is we probably see more along the lines of tinker trades. Like, okay, everyone loves the Rune Dog, as the kids call him.
Yeah.
Can you potentially upgrade on Kevin Rooney at the deadline without giving up too much? Can you, make some moves on your blue line so that, you have a little bit more depth to it? So things like that. I wrote a thing about this a few months ago before the Frost Farabee trade. I don't think they're going to be particularly busy on deadline day. I think it'll be if it, tinkers at most. And honestly, I kind of think that's the right move. If you're asking me what I want to see, I don't know if this is the year where you want to make big swings. This is the year where you're,
yeah. I'm still in the mode of if you want to take on a bad contract and get some assets for it, you got all kinds of cap space. If you can help another team, I still would like to see Conroy pull one of these off.
And you might notice, I know you watch everything at the press conference after the Philadelphia trade. I asked Greg about how do you feel about your cap space, and he, not me, he brought up the possibility of being a broker. So that's something that makes you go, that's on his mind, huh? Interesting.
Yeah. Hey, we're not smarter. Some of us are maybe, but we're not smarter than the NHL GMs in this regard. I know the question is always, would ownership allow it? Because they haven't done it. So I guess until they do it, will they do it? They haven't done. valid,
mean,
I suppose, but
they retained on Riddick to get a better pick. They retained on Markstrom.
yeah.
They retained on
they-
Hannafin. They retained. I think Markstrom's the first time they've ever retained for multiple seasons, like 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When folks
But
say
to take on salary in that case, because it was like I know it's kind of maybe it's semantics, but
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
but
How that,
they're getting a fairly substantial revenue bump in a couple years. But I think it would come down to, okay, if I'm Uncle Murray, I go make a case for it being valuable for us. You know, what's the value add here? Why is this better than not doing it?
Sheldon, $5. Thanks, Sheldon. Will Vladar be a flame at the deadline or risk losing him in the summer with Cooley coming up? Again, we're less than 2 weeks from the deadline. There's only so many games Vladar can play. I feel like he would have to play a lot of the games and incredibly well in all of them for a team to what are you going to get? Like I don't see it myself. I think he's here through the deadline, remains with the team. You still want to have some. You don't just I don't think you're going to get anything in a trade for him, just being honest. And you don't want to just have Wolf here by himself with another rookie. Have a veteran around for the rest of the season, and I think that's probably how that plays out. But
yeah, I agree. And you know, they want the Wranglers. They see the Wranglers going on a playoff run being a big developmental plus for that group. That group's a little bit depleted right now. They're really relying on Cooley lately, and Cooley's sort of been up and down since he came back from his injury. So, you know, I think it's a tall ask, to throw Cooley into the NHL with sort of how up and down his game has been lately. And you want, when he does go up, you want him to go up and stay up because he's a guy they believe in. And you also want to keep a Wranglers group that is kind of depleted. You want to give them a fighting chance. And I think keeping him down there gives them better than the alternatives.
Yeah. I mean, he is, for his good, this has been 2 wins. He was good tonight. Prior to those 2 wins, he'd lost 6 in a row. His goals against is 2.98 after tonight's win. And his save percentage is .891. He's a career 3.09 and .893. I don't know. I don't know what that brings you in trade, if anything. So I feel, not to poop on the guy on the night where he wins, but I haven't been playing the horn. When all those should have been playing the horn. And all those came through. Sorry about that. Super chat. Thank you to everybody for coming through with some big beans. All of it going to go to the youth centers of Calgary. Nice little rebound at the end. Came strong at the end. Put a few dollar bills away for the good folks at the youth center. So we do appreciate that. The old super chat. Super once again. So now it is Thursday, Tampa Bay, 5:00 game. We shall see. I still think Tampa is super dangerous. It was weird coming into this one. I said, well, why is Washington so good? And you kind of scratch your head. And I don't know why they're so good. I'm not super sure why that's the case. I know why Tampa's good. I feel like when you watch them, this is very clear. Their goalie is one of the best in the world, and their defense is very good, and they've got some all-world talent up front. So that will be an interesting one. Before we go, I guess a few things here. We were talking just moments ago about a Cammy versus Mike Gould battle. Not glowing confidence on either of our parts or in the chat or anywhere. This text came in. I don't want to say from who. Oh, it's from Mike Gould. Text from his mom. They are talking about you and Cammy fight. You need to start training. That's from Mama Gould. So even it sounds like if Mama Gould, if she were on Bet365 and had to take the odds, still might not be enough for her to take her wee boy in combat.
So I have 2 words for you. Training montage.
Yeah.
I think folks, if you are someone who's in the mood to sponsor a segment on any of our fine programs, potentially just, a dramatic montage, Rocky style of Mike trying to make it so he doesn't get completely dummied. get in touch.
If there's a health club or fitness club that contribute to the well-being of Mike Gould, putting on some pounds, eating right, vitamins, saying prayers, all that sort of thing, then maybe. Now, there's a shot of Cammie here. Cammie's, hey, we're not fooling around. She's, hell of a reporter, super smart, great at what she does, and she'd hang a licking on if you're not paying attention. She'd punch you right in the mouth. Pop!
Now, if I put this on screen, is Cammie going to come after me?
Well, I can't really. It's too small for me to see.
You're in the chat. Take a look. It's funny, but
I don't know how to. What am I supposed to? Where is it? Is it in the chat?
In the WhatsApp chat, yeah. Just
you sent it to me. Well, all
Oh,
right.
God, now I gotta look at this.
In the Afterburner chat.
I'll play some music here while we're
Do it. Yeah.
stand by. Oh, I don't think you'll get in trouble at all.
All right.
How did she hear about it? I guess she's in the chat.
She's in the chat.
So yes, she's in the Afterburner chat. Thanks, Jack. I'm a little slow on the uptake. She's at obviously beer league hockey. She's in the chat and sees that there's talk of her and Gould fighting, and she does not seem to be intimidated whatsoever. It's a thumbs up from Cammie Kepke for a battle of some sort. Oh, it's on.
Now, if we were smart, we'd try to book some sort of a bout for one of the last games in April.
Well, we should have done it during the 2-week break. It would have been great.
We had a tournament to talk about, but yeah, I know.
I guess so. Yeah.
We didn't know if the tournament would be any good. We should have
know
come up
if
with
it
a
was
plan
gonna
B.
And it was great. And now this one coming in. This is, again, freebie. I don't like doing free shoutouts. Did you see Rob Ray banished to the 300s at the Buffalo rink tonight? I did see that. Now, in the last game that the Sabres played at home, Rob Ray, who works between the benches doing color commentary, took a puck right in the forehead and did fire out, as I recall, an F-bomb live on the broadcast. So it's a dangerous spot. You're taking your life into your own hands. So now back in Buffalo, they decided we need to make the conditions a little bit more safe for Rob Ray. Yeah, I like it a lot. So they put, if you're just listening, they put Rob Ray in the highest part of the building, the last row in the 300 section, to do his color commentary and playing it straight. He gave you, there's the keys to the game. Stay aggressive, take the middle away, offensive zone. God, I love Rob Ray. What a guy.
Hey, if I get hit with a puck, I'd be milking it and trying to get off work. So I commend him for being right there for the very next game. Not as close to the action as he was in his previous outing, but
would you have would you have fired out an F-bomb?
Oh yeah. There's
yeah, it's good. It makes me so happy. I love having new stuff in the soundboard. Ah, so good. So good. All right. Over an hour. I thought it'd be 45 minutes, but you know what, Pike, you wouldn't shut up. So what's a guy supposed to do? Only so much I can do. Appreciate everybody for being a part of it here, for the download, for the watch, for whatever it is. Thanks to our sponsors, Platinum Mitsubishi, Origin Brewing, Bet365, and of course, to everybody in there helping out with the super chat. We appreciate you. It's going, like we say, it's between the two shows. We're putting together a good little total, and we're just a few months in. This is money that is going to go straight to the Youth Centers of Calgary, and they will use every dime in a very constructive manner to help out the youth in need in our city. I don't know who's working on Thursday. I think it might be Cammie. Oh, might it be Cammie and Mike on Thursday?
It's Cammie and me tomorrow, and I believe the matinee on Saturday is Pinder and me.
Okay, so this is good. We got to keep Gould and Kepke apart here, because you don't. It's like a wrestling thing. You don't want to give away a PLE main event on a Monday night.
It's the irresistible force and the immovable object. And I don't know who is who.
This is going to be a main event type of deal. We got to do the build here, Pike.
We've got a date.
Okay.
this Sunday, 3 p.m.
3
against Carolina. Mike and Cammy will be doing Afterburner.
Oh my goodness.
A main event anywhere in the country, and we'll have it for you here on Sunday.
I'm just there for the trash talking. Poor Gould. Even his mom's taking Cammy in the sad days. Where's that button I always press? Oh. That'll do it. See you, buddies.